Hello everyone and welcome back to Mentos Plays Our Darker Purpose. We are doing this specifically today because today is, or yesterday rather, while I was more concerned with setting up, I'm doing a video to talk about my experience with the Dark Souls 2 beta. The team at Avidly Wild Games actually put out the beta release of Our Darker Purpose. I forgot that I have a role. Essentially that means that this is a feature complete, so to speak, build. Obviously things may be added or changed as time goes on. It is still in beta, but for the most part all enemies, bosses, floors, etc. are already in the game. So this is definitely vastly more content than what we had last time we played the game. And so we can definitely look into this more as a more full version of the game, which also might entail a much more consistent series, seeing as this is more of a build that I am a little bit more comfortable with playing a lot of. A lot of the reason why I don't do a whole lot of content on the alpha and such games I have access to is mainly because when it comes down to it, there is give me 1 second, I actually want to turn on debug mode in case I run into anything, any kind of glitches or anything. That way the developers can see in the video what rooms they run and everything. Oops, got hit by that champion. But yes, sorry, this is taking a little bit of concentration. Essentially what it is when it's still in alpha, especially with a game that's a roguelike of sorts, that I want to be able to learn the items and everything as I play, there is a certain degree of wanting to hold off on use. Slows enemies on use for 2 seconds, and that is with E. But yeah, a lot of the magic to roguelites, so to speak. 1 second. 2,666 types of juice, plus 25 life. Juice boxes permanently increase health by 5. Or plus 5 damage. Enemies are twice as likely to drop chalk, juice boxes, and tokens. That sounds much better. We will use a juice box to get back up to almost full HP. But yeah, what am I going for here? So, in part, when we're talking about playing the alpha version of a game, especially when it's a game that, you learn as you go, there is a certain degree of wanting to hold on to that magic until it gets to a point where the game is at a stage of development where it makes sense to really look into it fully. Vexing Vial, Fragile Bear, Max Resist, destroyed after taking 150 damage. Terra's Petting Fish. Attacking also creates bubbles. That actually sounds kind of cool, but I don't think I'm going to get up to 15 coins on this floor since I have 0 so far. So there is definitely a degree of, hey, we're fighting Frothy. This was actually a really short floor. Took some damage here, though. There's a certain degree of wanting to preserve the magic of discovering things and learning how to do things best until the game is in a complete enough state where you've got most of what you're going to be working with in the final game anyway, and things aren't going to change drastically. That's the main reason why I haven't played too much of this. Delver's Drop is a little bit of a different case in that there's not a whole lot of content to the alpha just yet. So doing a whole bunch of videos on it would just be me playing over the same 5 floors over and over again. Just mixing up the classes I did and trying to do better. And so I feel like it would make more sense to hold off on that until the game is further along, to the point where it's going to be a bit more varied in terms of the content we put together for it. But this one in particular, I was kind of holding off on doing more videos of until it was in this, beta state where most of the items were in there, the enemies were all in there, the floors were all in there, because that way that I could experience the game a bit closer to how it would be if I hadn't backed it on Kickstarter and gotten early access. And it's still a time when bug testing and looking for things is still important, instead of being at a time when it's just completely useless. It's still useful, just... Ooh, that sounds interesting. But yeah, you know, it's still early enough in the game where, in the game's development, where bug testing and everything is still important. So it does still make sense to play it in terms of kind of fulfilling my part of the bargain in terms of being able to give a little bit of feedback on the earlier versions. But it's also full enough of a version where it doesn't, you know, take all the fun out of the game before it's even at a state that most people will be playing it at. So yeah, now that it's at this stage, we might be seeing this a little bit more consistently, especially with the Spelunky series being over. There are some other games I have that I want to show off some of, so this isn't the only thing that's going to be on the channel or anything like that for a while. But it's definitely going to feature a little bit more prominently at this point in development. So for right now, we are going to do our best to take care of these guys. It is kind of a difficult situation to avoid these shots, but we're getting along just fine with it. Gotta pay attention to the doors as well, make sure I don't accidentally walk into the boss before I'm prepared for it. Okay, and we should probably just go ahead and use a juice box so we can pick this one up. I've still only gotten those 2 coins on that one floor. Coins are very hard to come by in this game. Oh god. Oh god, I'm trapped in a corner. Nobody puts Cordy in a corner. I am glad that we took that increased damage perk. I think it was probably a wise decision over the alternative. Let's knock these guys out one by one. Only the champion is left, which means we should be getting another item here soon. That is one thing that is still a bit hard to adjust to compared to something like the Binding of Isaac, is the fact that items don't come up nearly with the consistency that they do in Isaac. And you know, you do get the levels, which kind of balance it out a bit, but I wouldn't say it's as consistent. You know, in Isaac you can generally expect it to be balanced around having, what am I looking for here? Having one item room, one chance to, close enough to where it'll be worth it. Let's see, what are these spectacles? 10% range, that works. But, you know, it's balanced around having... Ooh. I didn't even realize that there was going to be a memory room here. Anything else I need to inspect? I don't think so. But yes, what was I going with that? You know, in Isaac it's balanced around, you're going to get an item room on each floor, which may or may not be valuable, a boss item, as well as the, oh god, this room is horrible. I don't like this room. Too many things. Okay, well at least I'm only getting attacked by one angle right now. That helps. But yeah, so you've got the item room, you've got the potential for a shop, and you usually get money at a pretty decent rate. And you got the boss items, as well as deals with devil angels, golden chest items. So it's very possible to build up a good deal of items in a given Isaac run. In this, it's much harder to get, at least from my past experience, a very large amount of items. You can still get a decent amount, don't get me wrong. And it still makes an impact on the gameplay. But when you look at, you know, maybe a champion a floor and maybe one other item to get at random at most, versus in a vending machine for use of the relatively rare coins, versus how many items you get in Isaac, there is definitely a big difference in how you need to play it. Trust Walk Blindfold, plus 25% attack speed, slightly alters shot angle. I'm going to go with the Vexing Vial for 8 here. Add a little bit to my juice boxes, get to carry one more. Obviously, we've got 2 of them laying around back in that other room, so that'll help us if we take some damage on the boss. This is a guy I haven't seen in a while, Cauldron of Yesterdaisies. Oh, we took some damage. Cauldron! Oh god, now he spawned blobs. And he is healing himself as we attack these blobs. I gotta remember that. Hit him! I used my slow, it didn't really seem to change a whole lot in terms of this boss fight. It's probably not something that is meant to be used on a boss as much as regular enemies. That's another thing, is that a lot of the items aren't necessarily as useful as the Isaac items. The game is a lot more dependent on your ability to handle the situations that come up than it is on getting enough items to boost your strength. You know, the items do help, like I said, but they also aren't necessarily as important as they are in Isaac. What I mean by that is the fact that, oh god, there's so much going on right now. Okay, so this guy stays out even while the other one is in there healing. That's really annoying. That makes this much more difficult, but we are tearing away at his health pretty decently. Although he is tearing away at mine as well. Come on. Die, Cauldron of Yesterdaisies. No, not second helping. I want the first helping. I don't know if I need to kill both of them to get everything done. Yes, I do. But yeah, so, this is definitely much more dependent on you learning the enemies and learning how to deal with them. Most of the items, you know, they're useful, but they aren't game changers. You know, the damage isn't necessarily going to be the difference between one-shotting an enemy and two-shotting them, because enemies take a lot more hits than they do on average in Isaac. Let's use one more of those. It does put us a little bit below the max that we could have had, but we can swing back down here and pick up these 2, and then we're back up to 3 at least. So yeah, it is. I know this got a lot of comparisons to that game to begin with, which is kind of why I'm pointing out one of the main differences I see. You know, the items, like I said, they're still useful, but they aren't necessarily the thing that, due to the unexpected absence of several rooms that were here yesterday, this floor is smaller than expected. This one seems normal. These 2 both seem normal. They're both cafeterias. That one's a too small cafeteria. You know, too small does seem beneficial in the fact that it has less rooms and less chances to get hurt. But at the same time, a full-size floor does kind of seem a bit more, steady, I guess. But we're gonna go with the, in terms of item and such income. God, this fast guy. Need movement speed. But yeah, you know, the stats up aren't as significant of stats up, neither with the levels nor with the items. And so it does kind of foster a different kind of gameplay, where you're focusing more on improving your skill at handling the enemies instead of trying to know all the items and what they do. Honestly, there aren't very many items that have ever stuck out to me in my time with this game as being ones that I always want to get. Plus 5 damage, juice boxes permanently increase damage by 2 versus 10% move speed sounds really good, but I'm going to go with this one because this seems like it could build up to a lot of damage ups. In fact, we'll take that little bit of damage now. But, you know, and that's kind of balanced out by the fact that healing items are much more prevalent in this than they ever were in Isaac. You know, you got hearts at a pretty decent clip dropped, but not necessarily ones that were going to, you know, unless you were running a pretty low health build, they weren't necessarily going to restore, you know, 25% of your health in a single drop. There were the full health containers and everything, the full health pills and everything, but in general, there weren't as many chances to heal up your full HP as there are in this game. So it does kind of balance out. I do wish that the items were a bit more important. Just because I feel like right now it's always good to get more items, but it's not necessarily important. 15 kills in a row without missing grants 20% crit. The Wandering Crab, 15% resist. Vexing Vial Juice Box. 15 kills in a row without missing does seem like quite a lot, but really if you take your time and aim your shots, I don't think it's that horrible to pull off. It just takes a really long time for that to become helpful. The question I have on that is, if you get the bonus from not missing through 15 kills, do you then have to continue to not miss to keep the bonus, or does the bonus go away after you have missed a shot? So like, let's say I killed 15 enemies without missing a shot. If I were to then miss my next shot, would I still have the 20% crit, or would I be in a position of still having that plus 20% crit and being able to get another one if I went 15 shots without missing? Or is it a one-time boost that the first time you do it, it lasts with you through the end of the game? There are a lot of questions that I have about how that item works. And depending on the answers to those depends on how well I rate that item as being useful. Let's see, we can go down here, oh god, blobs and these little totem things that we should do plus 25 HP, plus 2 damage, why not? Might want to do that again at least before I walk into the boss. No hidden doors out of this room on the map at least. Let's head over this way. This big guy is going to chase after me. He could be a little bit of a problem with the chalk clouds floating around. But he had died pretty easily actually. On the other hand, because he died so easily and I didn't plan that through, I can't get to all the coins on the floor, which is, I guess, a bit of a negative. But on the positive, he didn't have a chance to damage me, so I'll take that trade-off. And that should do it. Indeed it does. Okay. Let's go into our boss, and we are fighting Sudsy the Inanimate. Sudsy was, if you recall, my last video, a boss that I had a lot of trouble with. I need to remember that when he does that full attack that fills the screen, I need to jump behind where he spawns the iceberg here, because that's going to block his ice shots and give me a free space to stand. Okay, we're doing relatively decently. Not great, mind you, but relatively decently. I am going to use another juice box, bring my damage up a bit as well as, oh god, bring my health up a bit. This guy is a dick. Okay. I'm not sure how to judge when he's going to do his across the screen run like that. Oops. This might be the end of this run. I'm not entirely sure. Oop. I think I can beat this guy, I think. I've got one juice box left. I'm doing decent damage at this point. Although not great, obviously. But we are a little bit over halfway, I would say, through his health. Also, his name is very misleading. This is not very inanimate. This thing is very much animated. I mean, he might not be living, but he is very much animate. So he's going through the top there. I really need to dodge that ice ball when it breaks better. Okay. Use up my last juice box. This is getting rather dangerous. But he is almost dead. which is good, because I wasn't ready to end the episode yet, but I also didn't want to start out a new run necessarily at 20 minutes in, because who knows how long this video could end up if I did. And I'm also recording this rather late at night, so super long video is not the best choice for me. We got him. Sudsy the Inanimate has been destroyed. And now we have the Woundwort Fortress. So this is kind of our boss floor for the first chapter here. Ooh, there are hands that reach out of the ground to grab you. I forgot about that. I think I've seen that before, but I did not think of it. I hate the green chalk clouds. Go away, go away, go away. I have nowhere to run. Nowhere to run. And I'm confused. That makes things harder. Oh god. This is our death. Those clouds are very hard to deal with on that room, just because there's nowhere to run away. With that being said, let's jump back to the start here. So we got our class schedule where we can pick up 2 perks. Gain 50% range when standing still. Gain up to 20% extra crit chance when near an enemy. And start with 2 extra juice boxes. Those seem useful, all of them. We only have 11 credits though, and we need 15 in order to unlock any. We've got our memory book here, which is essentially our journal, where we can see all the info about the bosses that we've come across, all that stuff. And obviously there are 4 chapters. We were probably on the last level of chapter 1 there. Options I don't think I've shown off, or I didn't briefly in the actual game, but keyboard controls, sound controls are pretty basic. Toggle full screen, exit options. Yeah, with that I think we're going to call this video quits. Like I said, I'm kind of recording this late at night, which is a bit awkward timing for me. That combined with the fact that, you know, we just died at 22 minutes in. If we have a little bit better run next time, you know, we could end up going well over an hour with this video. And I'm not too sure that I want to do that. We will be seeing more of this game. Like I said earlier, you can be sure of that. I didn't run into any glitches really that I was able to pick out at least, so that's a good thing. And as a whole, it was a fun run through. I do want to get back into this, try out some different possible perks, get some more items, see what I can do with a little bit better loadout. I need to be able to beat through that first segment first of all. Beat through the fortress at the end of chapter 1, see what happens in chapter 2, 3, and 4. But for now, we are going to let this go. Thank you guys for watching as always. I hope you did enjoy the video and the content I have produced. And thank you guys as always for watching, really. I know I don't get many views on most videos, but I really do appreciate those of you who do watch my videos. So thank you for that. And I will see you next time. There are a few different games that we might be playing next time through. Not sure which it's going to be yet, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys, and see you next time.